Hey guys, it's Biggs. Welcome back. Thank you for stopping by. Now, one of the things we brought up in the live feeds, and you guys expressed interest, is I often get asked all questions about all this random stuff that appears on my walls and shelves and stuff around me and stuff. That was set up to give you guys some interest instead of just constantly staring at this beautiful specimen here. It gave you other things of interest and stuff to check on. Well, I get a lot of questions, as I say, about some of this stuff. So today, we're going to go through all the random little trinkets and maybe some of the special stories behind why I have them. So hopefully you enjoy. Well, without a doubt, the one that I get asked the most about is the fish sign. It's probably one of my favorite, absolute favorite pieces. It was a cherished gift from a very, very dear friend of mine. It's all metal, it's all welded. It's made to look very, very rustic and distressed. It's one giant solid piece of steel, and each of the letters are individually made out of steel, and it's got like a metal mesh all behind, and it's lit from behind. And you guys see it in different colors all the time because when I got it, it came with a remote. So we can literally change it to any color we want, anytime we want. It's just something cool in the background. Now, originally the intention of this sign was it's going to go outside above the big 12-foot tank in the room. That was the original intention. Whether that's going to happen or not, I really like it in the fish room. It looks great for the background when we're talking on YouTube. And where did this beautiful sign come from? Well, this was a gift from a very, very dear friend, Rachel O'Leary. You guys all know her, Miss O. Her husband and her and her family made this as a gift for me. And I'm absolutely honored to have it as one of my favorite pieces in my room. Now, I very much like to surround myself with all sorts of stuff. Now, you look on these shelves, there's all sorts of random things. Now, I've taken some things down off some of the other walls and stuff like that and brought them here because they might just be a little bit easier. And they're not necessarily in any sort of order, but this one here definitely needs a mention first and foremost. This is one of my absolute cherished possessions. This was actually made to me as a Father's Day gift from my eldest daughter, Zoe. Those that know me know about my daughter, Zoe. My daughter, Zoe, is handicapped, and it's just physical handicaps, and she's an absolute amazing, amazing daughter. She's now currently in her second year of university doing a very, very high-end computer programming and stuff like that, so she's absolutely awesome. But her difficulties and her challenges are all in her motor skills, and when she was very, very young, I don't remember the exact age, so this is 2009, Zoe would have been 6. She would have been 9. She made this as a school project, and she made it entirely herself, and I absolutely cherished it. I'm the one who mounted it to this board, but she did all the painting work. It's all made out of paper mache. Granted, the fin may be backwards. You know, she wasn't a biology student, guys. Let's give her a break, but it's absolutely one of my cherished possessions. You'll see that I have lots of different types of artwork around me. Now, the one that a lot of people notice right away is this big piece here. This is called Mexican Standoff. You can't really see it in the lighting, but it says Mexican Standoff here. This is a numbered print, and it's actually made by a very, very dear friend, an extremely gifted artist. This is the Herichthys or Nosferatu labridens, the Media Luna, and the Nosferatu Herichthys bartoni as the standoff where they would meet in Mexico in the Media Luna and stuff like that. And as I say, this was from a very, very dear friend and amazing artist. His name is Nick LaFerrier. Now, I've known Nick since he was a little kid. And he joined the local aquarium society, and he just started, I called him Scribbles, and he just used to make some exceptional little drawings and stuff like that. And he's basically made it an entire career out of it. He does nature art and paintings and stuff like that for large corporations and companies, boat wraps, clothing lines, those sort of things. And he's done the artwork for a lot of these companies all over the world. He's done a lot of amazing, amazing stuff, and we'll put a link to his channel up on here so you guys go check out his work. He's done some amazing, amazing work. But I also have a couple other of Nick's pieces, and these pieces are original artwork that he's actually gifted to me. This is one of them. This is actually a 100% full pencil drawing of an Umbroferus. It's absolutely an awesome, awesome picture. It's just a head close-up of an Umbroferus. I don't know if you guys can really see it or not, but it's just a really, really cool picture that he gifted to me before he moved away. And I have many of his prints, but my wall space was very, very limited. But this is probably, you know, even though I love all these ones, this is probably the most cherished one of all. And this is actually the logo for the Dead Fish Order, which is an organization that Spencer, Jack, and myself started. And This was the original logo. I like how it's got the little toilet seat and the dead and just all the fun of it, and the light and the dark and the Grim Reaper and everything. It's absolutely an absolute cherished piece. This was never actually ever put into any sort of production whatsoever. It was only basically released so we could have a logo. He has also then since digitized it, and we used it if we ever run and do shirt prints and stuff like that, which we don't because we haven't really done much, but we still have the great organization. We have some fun. Now, the other part of the Dead Fish Order, and the other thing that you guys see a lot in the video, is the posters. Now, when we started up the Dead Fish Order, we wanted to have an organization that was different, kind of an alternative aquarium society. It wasn't necessarily intended to be more adult, even though we have had some adult-type content. It was meant to be more of a forced social experiment. The Dead Fish Order is very, very different from your normal aquarium society. We still do a lot of the basic stuff. We still have gatherings or meetings. They're not on a schedule, though. They're not on like every third Sunday or every second Tuesday. We don't do anything like that. Our calendar for the Dead Fish Order is usually only about 4 times a year, and it usually is accommodated based on the guest's schedule. And if you notice just the wall of some of the posters, there's only some of them. The guests that we've had are all world-renowned, world-class speakers in their own right, and we've had several of them many times. We've had Rusty Wessel 2-3 times, Jeff Cardwell 2-3 times, and so forth. We've had a lot of these people who are all very, very dear friends. But the reason I say it's a forced social experiment is we always want to be able to sit down, have a nice meal, and enjoy world-class talks by these speakers. And the posters, everybody, like I've taken these posters anywhere I travel when have speaking engagements, and I see them framed in people's houses all over the place. So it's a lot of fun. Here's a couple more of those Dead Fish Orders. That's Jim Cummings and the Rachel O'Leary's. This is an award that was the organization called the Canadian Cichlid Association, and I got my New World Specialist Award, and that was of doing 50 species. And the sad part is these things, we never dated them for some reason. I don't know why we never ended up getting them dated, but that's probably 2 decades ago that we did this. The green award plaque at the bottom there is my service award with my company. We've got a Foz medallion that I earned for something like a President's Award or something. I got this cool little fish sculpture that somebody gave me. And I've got this wonderful little print here, and I apologize that Trenton Young, I believe is his name. I'm going to have to take it down there so the light doesn't glare on it, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous picture. Yeah, Trenton Young, great little piece. I do have several pieces from this individual. This individual is an amazing, amazing artist. His name is Sam Scowls. All in all, I probably have about a dozen pieces from Sam. My problem being is the limitations of this room of hanging up all this amazing artwork. Gorgeous, nice irregular, and that much coveted Thomas Cichlid Frasci. But the room's going to expand, not necessarily in here, but when we do build the other big tank, we'll have spaces for doing different things. And maybe some of the, because this is actual artwork, maybe some of this might spill out into the family room. I collect a lot of books. Now my book collection, what you see here is really honestly only probably about 5% of what I used to have. I honestly went through it and kind of narrowed it all down and cleaned it all up and stuff. I still have probably a couple of boxes, but all the smaller little handbooks and stuff like that I really wasn't going to use, they've all kind of gone the wayside. A lot of these books are different things that have been gifts. This was a dear gift from Mr. Mo Devlin. This was a gift from Chris Lufkamp. You know, Oliver Lucanis, Lee Nuttall. You know, lots of different collector items and stuff like that that are important to me. The very, very first original editions of the Malawian Tanganyikan cichlids by Ad Konings, and some of the coolest factors about them is that, we got them signed by Ad, but we also got them signed by Mr. Stuart Grant from Lake Malawi back in 2001 when the Canadian Cichlid Association brought the two of them in to do a talk at one of our meetings. So I have lots of different books that are signed by different. I've got all sorts of different books on orchids and isopods and different unique botanical interests and stuff like that. There's the Mighty Mad Aquarist tour poster. There's the one for the hot seat that you guys often see in the background. These are all shed spines from the stingrays. And just to give you an idea of scope, this isn't a little thing. This is a massive one. And that was from Big Mama that used to be in the 750-gallon aquarium. Lots of different other books, all the Aqualog books and stuff like that for reference type stuff, even though a lot of it's kind of dated. I do have some duplicates because I have a dear friend that has been going through his collection and randomly selling me some books, or sending me books randomly, and I'm like, okay, well, they go on the wall for now. We'll figure out what we're going to do. A lot of very unique books like fish behavior and stuff like that. This Optimum Aquarium book was a like an absolute mind-blowing, game-changing book for me back in the late 80s and stuff, when it introduced the thing about bioballs and different types of things. It's still one of my absolute favorite books. Real cherished book there from the lovely lady, Miss Rachel O'Leary, and it's all personalized to me. You know, we've got the big tarantula and the scorpions, and I've got some wonderful treasure that I got from the lovely lady, Miss Christine Keys. These were all handmade glass artwork out of beer bottles, reclaimed beer bottles. So I got a green fish, a clear fish, and a brown fish. And like my daughter's artwork there, I mounted on a nice old piece of barn board. I think it looks really cool, and I absolutely love it. You know, different things. This was the new gift from my dear friend Thomas Waltzik down in Florida. Lots and lots of cool stuff. Signed pictures by some of my closest friends, Mr. Wayne Leibel. And then up in here, we have the one and only Charlie Grimes, and a very, very dear friend of mine, Mr. Hugh Rodriguez, who has since passed away. The scorpion. The Arowana is a piece that supports Project Piaba. I often, when I'm traveling at conventions and stuff like that, it's not really feasible for me to bring back fish sometimes. So I try to look for unique little things that I can bring back that are specialty. Like the Pleco Suck I bought that at the Catfish Convention. That was a wonderful piece of artwork from Chuck Davis. I have the wonderful piece from Chuck Davis up there as well, and I have a few others. This is one that I often get asked about by people as well, and this is a giant sculpture of two Asian Formosus arowanas. It's probably over 2 feet tall. They're all hand carved out of one solid piece of wood. The only piece that comes off are the little barbels. And that was a gift from a very dear friend who spent a few years living in Thailand and Malaysia, named Chris Taylor. And we call him Thailand Taylor. He's a very good friend. Now on this wall over here, this is actually my Breeders' Award program when I obtained the level of Grand Master. There wasn't any other levels to go beyond that, so we've had to kind of create levels since. But that was my Grand Master's plaque. And this was my Master's level in aquatic horticulture from the KOAC, which is the Canadian Association of Aquarium Clubs, and they help recognize all the clubs, and they offer support for all the other clubs. This was the event poster that was basically the schedule that was out in the lobby for the 25th anniversary of the Ohio Cichlid Association Big Extravaganza. This was their 25th show at the same hotel, all stops pulled out. And I was blown away beyond honored to be one of the honored speakers. I was on the same speaking bill with Oliver Lucanis, Hans George Evers, Juan Miguel Artigas, there's me, and Mr. Ad Konings. It was absolutely a crazy over-the-top event, so I asked if I could have one of the tour posters, and I basically just took it from the lobby. They don't know. Shh. Now, the other two things are hand-carved trophies. We had one individual that I'd made contact with in the early 90s. He's since passed on, that did these beautiful, beautiful hand-carved trophies for me. This one was made by Del Calhoun, who still makes them. He lives down in Florida. He was originally from Illinois. But these ones here are from a gentleman, I believe, somewhere in Minnesota. And that one was for a show where I came in second place at the show. This one over here was when I came with the same entry was for Best Cichlid in the show. And I won this ACA medallion, and I glued the medallion to the award. So that was the Best Cichlid in show, and he was the second place entry in the whole show. I just like that. I have all sorts of other trophies and stuff like that from entering fish back in the day, and then ribbons and smaller plaques and all that sort of stuff. It's just there's not enough room to put it all out, so I only kind of put the ones I like the best. This was an award that was given to me. It's called the Frank Denowden Award, which is another gentleman that had passed away with the local aquarium society, but he just epitomized absolute true excellence in being a human. He supported the club in every facet. He supported hobbyists in every way. He helped in every way. So we created this award program. It was basically awarded like a president's award or something in his honor, and I was given it one year. Another beautiful piece of Chuck Davis artwork, and that's my Master's Award trophy for horticulture with the Aquarium Society of Winnipeg. Not as sexy as something like that, even though this does kind of look like a toilet seat, but that makes it even funnier. And then some of the lanyards from all the different shows. It's just piles and piles and piles of lanyards from being speakers or just being a guest and an attendee or whatever. Some of the treasured posters are things that you just cannot find anymore. This is the original poster, Cichlids of Madagascar. I had another one that was in the series with these ones. These were all original prints of original paintings done by Stan Sung in the late 80s, early 90s. He did one on South America, which obviously you see here. He did one on Tanganyika, which I have as well. And he did one on Central America, which he never made prints of, but the original is owned by Mr. Jeff Cardwell. And he did one on Madagascar for supporting the efforts of Madagascar. And I had that one framed, and I gave it to a very dear friend who you guys have seen videos of. His name is Mr. Dana Allen in Saskatoon, because he was very, very passionate about doing the Madagascar fish, so I gave that to him. This giant northern pike, musky, don't know what it is. This is a family heirloom. This thing's probably over 60 years old. It was my great-grandfather's, and it always hung in our cottage. It's a horribly ugly, ancient-looking. It's got felt. It's just horribly ugly looking. But we sold our cottage about a year or two ago. All the kids have grown up, and the new cottage is really not the same as what it was growing up, so nobody had the interest in going, so they ended up selling the cottage, and they asked, anybody want anything from the cottage? And I said, I want the fish. Here's some other unique treasures. If you bought one of Ian Fuller's original book on Corridors, which I have here somewhere, I believe it was this one here, the original book, you got an original print. This is it's not a print. This is an original piece of artwork, and this one happens to be, and they're all random. This one happens to be Corridors Gossai, whatever. But that's pretty cool. This is a print. My good friend from Germany, Andreas Tonke, he owns a printing company, and he does all the work for the L Number Days and a bunch of the organizations there, but he does some amazing world-renowned nature photographer. But he also does these amazing things. And you really cannot appreciate this thing unless you saw it first uphand. That actually, pleco, is named after him. That's Panoculus tonkii. Tonkii? I don't know, might be pronouncing it wrong. But that is his genre that he's mostly specialized. And this is a photograph, high-quality photograph, that is actually printed on a sheet of aluminum. So the whole thing has a shimmer to it. It almost brings the animal to life. So that was a cherished gift that he gave me when he stayed with us for a week when he was here in Winnipeg. This is another little item from Thailand. This is actually a fish trap. It looks, so there's certain things I wouldn't want to put in there. That looks ouchy. It looks like a Chinese puzzle gone wrong. That's something kind of cool made out of bamboo. This is a gigantic pine cone. Now, coming from where I live, our trees don't have a long enough growing season. To find this on the ground is insane. It's like a foot long. And I brought this back as a gift for my wife on one of our trips. And this was from another dear friend, from a jawbone, from a jackass, one to another, from Mr. Fred Krause, a good friend of mine in kind of a nutcase, good friend, and we got along just perfect. And that was at when I spoke at the Milwaukee Aquarium Society. Some isopods and some skeletons. Another piece to support Project Piaba. Little stingray. More different isopod sculptures that I've gotten over the years. Just lots and lots of stuff. Now we're just at the base of the stairs. Go just before the Fishroom's right here and stuff like that. These are some random things that you guys may have seen in the background. This is the only other item that from the cottage that I grew up with. My grandfather was a modeler, and he built this boat entirely from scratch on little scraps of wood, built the case, built the whole thing. And this actually sat beside my monitor for the longest time. However, when my family actually asked everybody if anybody wanted anything, and I said the fish, the other thing I said was the boat. But my older brother, Paul, had already taken the boat, so I didn't get the boat. However, my brother, Paul, about a year ago, got up and moved to Colombia. So he lives in Colombia, and he says, here's the boat. So now I've got the boat, and it's got a nice place of prominence. This is from a tap set from going back in family of something. This is something that would have covered a tap at a bar. That came from my great-grandfather on my mom's side, so it came from the UK. Picture of my wife. A tattoo gun that has been used on me. This is really, really cool, though. This was a real, really cool, unique, cherished gift. And this is the stuff I love absolutely the best. This was one of the times I spoke in Bermuda. This was a gift given to me by Scott Dunstan and Michelle Dunstan. These are people that brought me down to speak, and I've spoken there, I believe, 3 or 4 times now. This is made entirely out of a solid piece of Bermudian red cedar, and it is generally given as a sign of friendship, and it's given at weddings and things like that. And just the intricacy, it's a cup, but it's got these different rings on it and stuff, and it's all made out of one piece. This is something I cherish forever. It's very, very cool to me. And the last little thing, you know, when you have kids and you go to different birthday parties and stuff, well, our daughter had a birthday party at one of these places where we did ceramics, and Dad had to participate, so Dad made a tokay gecko. So, hope you guys had some fun with that, learn a little bit behind the scenes. I just think it's all craziness, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.